we talk about getting mentors, whether in and out of work, but it's also important that within the environment where you work, that you find someone who can come up as a sponsor for you.
Some people will say, oh, yeah, I have a mentor. I think a sponsor is very important. People that can speak for you when you're not even there, when decisions are being made and you're not even aware. So you have to build a relationship where you have a sponsor who would advocate for you tooth and nail, but then you have to have paid the dues in terms of putting the work. There is nothing that you want to become that you're not able to. You just have to put your mind to it. I have had a lot of people say, oh, it's so difficult. But I tell them, that's because you're saying it. You're saying it and you're beginning to believe it. It's living in your head and everything seems so difficult. Have I had challenges? Yes. Have I struggled? Yes. But I'm not going to stay there. I'm not going to stay there or dwell on it. I'm just going to find a better way to do things. So if you are trying to build your career, you have to be intentional about it. You have to do things differently. People that succeed, they don't just do the same thing over and over again. They have to always face challenges and be ready to do something different.
Welcome to Career Conversations with Ola, the official podcast of Career Zone by Ola. I am your host, Ola Adebayo, a human resource professional, career enthusiast, and a coach. Your go-to guide through the highs, lows, and everything in between of building a meaningful career. In each episode, I sit down with incredible professionals, trailblazers, go-getters, and everyday leaders to share real stories, practical advice, and lessons you can actually use. Whether you're just starting out, pivoting, or chasing your next big goal, the space is here to inspire and empower you. Join me and let's navigate the world of work together.
Welcome back to yet another exciting and I promise insightful episode of Career Conversations with Ola. This is the space where, we get to dive into real relatable career stories of incredible professionals, exceptional professionals, I like to say. And we get the inside scope on, their careers wins and also the valuable lessons that have shaped their journey. And why we do this is ultimately so that you are able to level up your own career. And today definitely is not an exception. I have with me today an amazing guest. She's got a great career story and you would find out as we go. I have with me today someone who goes by the same name that I do. Her name is Ola Adebayo. Good to have you, Ola. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Ola. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for, the willingness to do this. We'll get through very quick intros and then we will dive into the real stuff. And then I'll do some icebreakers right before then. So, going to be a fun episode. I also did incorporate a little fun break. So we're going to have a really nice conversation. I'm looking forward to it.
I am as well.
Sounds good. So my guest for today is Ola Adebayo. Ola is an absolute expert in payroll and compliance. She is a certified payroll professional, CPP in Canada. She has almost a decade of experience managing payroll across different countries, US, Canada, the UK, Sweden. Her career has been built on efficiency, precision, and innovation. And she's known for leading projects that has increased payroll efficiency. But there's much more to her story. It's been full of growth. It's been full of transformation and then really bold decisions. And that's one of the reasons why we have her on the show today. So she could come help unpack all of that. She has navigated the complexities of payroll, leading teams to driving business improvement and empowering the teams and the employees that she works with. She also is an advocate for making payroll both a technical task and a strategic business function. Curious to hear, her take on some of those pieces. So this would be such a lovely episode. Ola has different sides to her. And so I know that she'll be sharing with us insights that would help someone level up their career or think and do something differently. Ola, like I said, so glad to have you. Thank you so much for joining the show today.
Thank you so much, Ola. Thanks for having me.
It's such a pleasure. So let's dive in with something light. Icebreakers. I like them. I feel like they're a good kickstarter of the conversation.
Yep.
So my first for you, if you were a superhero and you wanted to get a career-related superpower, what would that be?
Ability to multitask. To multitask effectively, because that's what I do almost every day. You're in a meeting, you're trying to approve payrolls, you're trying to make decisions. So sometimes it can be overwhelming. being able to do all of that all together at once. So if I have a superpower, I would want to be able to multitask and be in every meetings at the same time and just disappear and appear. I think that's what I would prefer.
Literally get your to-do list and then a magic wand and say, just go ahead, do it all.
Just clone me.
Love it. I love it. Sounds really
Yeah.
good. So one more before we dive into the real stuff.
Yeah.
What's your favorite productivity hack that helps you stay on top of work? I mean, you, for instance, hinted us about the fact that you always have to multitask. What keeps you going? What's that productivity hack you're looking to share with us?
Well, it's funny, but I would say music. I work from home, so I love to have my music going, like at the background, except I'm in meetings, just because it keeps me alive. It keeps me, I can sing along and still do things, and I'm not feeling stressed and tired. So I would say music, and sometimes I just sing. When I'm really stressed, I just sing it out.
Oh.
So that's my productivity hack.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's a mood booster for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So let's get into the real stuff. The biggest part of my curiosity is always this first question. How did you get into payroll? Like, I know that, for instance, your background was in sciences and that today you are a pro in the payroll space. How did you get there? What initially drew you into that field? Just walk us through that journey. I like to call them the stories behind the scene.
Yes, absolutely. I can do that. Like you rightly said, my background is in sciences, but I've always been a numbers person. Give me the maths to do, I'm there, and my head is always calculating with numbers. And when it comes to finances, I'm also very good in that regard. I can plan, budget, forecast, just kind of when it has anything that has to do with numbers. That's my thing. So I started out my career, like when I finished school, I didn't go into any of the sciences line. I decided to go into banking back home in Nigeria. So I was in the banking world for 7 years, and then it was becoming too crazy. There's no work-life balance. You are always in the bank 24/7, days and Sundays included, monitoring ATM machines. It was just so ridiculous. Why do I have to sit here and monitor a machine work and dispense cash? So I said I needed to do something else at that time. And I'm like, okay, what can I do? I have a passion for numbers. I love helping people, solving problems. I'm very customer centric. I'm like, okay, what can I do? How can I transfer all of this into something meaningful? But I would prefer back office, not customer facing. Yes. So I started checking, and then I'm like, HR. I'm like, HR, but then there's no numbers. Like, I don't have any numbers attached to it. I would just have to resolve issues, make sure employees are okay, make strategic decisions. And then I'm like, okay. So that was how I got into this field that I now love so much. I drink payroll. I talk payroll. I mentor people. I coach. I will make you fall in love with payroll. At the end of this session, I'm sure, Ola, that you'll start thinking about
maybe.
Okay. So moving to Canada, it now became a thing for me because you now have to learn the Canadian payroll way, which is totally different from, back in our home country. So I had to go back to school, put some effort into that, just so I am certified to be a payroll professional. And along the way, I started still trying to see what's out there in terms of payroll world for other countries as well. So I started looking at the US payroll, which is totally different from the Canadian payroll, and then UK, and then Sweden. So that's how I got here.
You must really love numbers. I hear the passion in your voice.
Yes.
That's really, really so good. So yeah, you moved on from payroll way back, even before you migrated to Canada. And then you got in here. One of the bold decisions I heard you say you took was having to go back to school. How was that for you?
It was a diploma course for 1 year. It was challenging. Of course, if you've gone to school here in Canada, you know that it's a totally different scope. Lots of assignments, lots of discussion, group discussion. We are always meeting every day. It was crazy, but it was worth it. I always tell people, if you have the opportunity to learn something new, grab it. It was very good. It was an eye-opener for me. I learned so many things, and I'm always grateful for it because it was a fully funded scholarship from the government. So I took that opportunity, and yes, so I am always very grateful for it.
That was good. That was a really bold step because I can imagine for a lot of people, the concern would be, do I want to go back and have to do school again, especially having had tons and tons of years of experience even before coming over. So that was really good. Yeah. And so I'm curious, looking back at that journey, was there a specific moment where you felt like, yes, I feel like I took the right decision, or this is where I'm meant to be?
Thinking back, I would say immediately after school, I started looking for a position in payroll. And each time I had those interview calls,
Yeah.
the school prepared me to be able to speak to it, to answer those questions. Because like in payroll, it's a very different environment. Employers want to be sure that you know the compliance behind payroll. So being able to take all of those experiences, all of those knowledge from school and haste those interviews and speak to them just made me feel like I made the right decision. At that time when I was going back to school for a whole year, I was like, that's a whole year of my life just sitting down. And I'm not sure. I'm like, maybe I should just go back into banking or do something else. But I'm like, okay, I'm just going to just give this a try, But one thing about me is if I decide to give something a try, be 100% sure that I'm giving it my all. It's not just a try at that point. I'm giving it my all. I'm dedicating and I'm like, this is what I want to do. So yes, at that point, I'm like, okay, yes, this is very good for me. And I took that opportunity and it turned out well.
Yeah. So you had moments of uncertainty is what I hear you say.
Of course.
At the point where you took that, big decision of let me head back to school. But what helped you walk through that uncertainty, like that period? So I hear you say you gave it your all. Were there specific steps of, the things you did that helped you come out of it?
Yes. One thing that I always tell people, and one thing I'm personally always grateful for, is I have a supportive partner because I have kids. At that time I had just 2 and they were boys, and having to go to school, having to still be at home and be present in that moment, it was a huge task. But because I have a partner who is very supportive, who would say, okay, do you need time to read? Don't worry, I'll cook dinner. You don't have to think about that. It really helped me to give it my all, because if I didn't have that luxury of a support system, maybe I would not be able to do it, and then I had colleagues, friends, other students as well who were in need for it. So it was easy and we were able to navigate things together at that time. So I would say yes, my support system, my spouse, and other colleagues, students as well.
So get yourself support systems. I can totally relate where, constantly, especially where you have family to juggle, you have the career, you are in a space where you're learning very new things and
yes,
you need to show up, 100%. The support system definitely is so important. Thank you so much for sharing. I can imagine,
you're welcome.
Someone would take away something from that. You've done payroll across different jurisdictions.
That's right.
How do you navigate those differences? I am more conversant with US-Canada piece, and I can tell you for free how different they are. How do you navigate that? And what kind of challenges do you come across when you navigate those?
Ola, it's a situation where you're always learning. Every day you have to stay informed, literally. It's a field where things are changing rapidly every time. So because the compliance and the law that you think you know from yesterday, you might wake up today and it's different. And especially you want to throw in a mix, start employing employees in Quebec, and it's totally different. The taxes are different, the way of operations are different, and then when you have employees in Quebec, you have to remit something to CRA and then something to Revenue Quebec. So it's different. And then if you now work for a multinational organization, a global company that has employees in US, Sweden, UK, and other places like that, you have to know your stuff, basically. But what I have discovered over the years of experience being a payroll professional is you don't have to know all of the answers immediately. Because if you're trying to answer all of those questions while you're being asked, you might end up giving them the wrong answer. And that would always cost your employee some money. And just like the other guest that you had on your show said, you don't have to know everything. That's not your job.
Yeah.
Can you find answers? Yes. That's why you're a leader. You don't have. So what I would usually do is I would take all of the information, all the uniqueness about the recruitment, and then go investigate. So every day on my computer, I would have CRA sites open, one place. I'll have maybe Revenue Quebec, and I'll just keep researching. You cannot know it all. And I tell people that report to me as well, I would say, I am not expecting you to know it all. but the ability to research, get the right things, it's very important in this profession. So I always tell them that. And also, we have a governing body, which is the National Payroll Institute, and they have a lot of resources out there. And then they have an info line that you can always call, and someone on the other end will try, take all of the scenarios and try to provide the best answer. But of course, CRA is the source of truth. Revenue Quebec is the source of truth. So you have to also confirm whatever you have been told. It can be a lot. Trying to find all of those answers can be a lot, but that's something I love doing. I love researching, getting answers, finding solutions, making sure the employers, the leaders are comfortable with the decisions that they are making regarding any strategic decisions. And, it's the art of every business. There is nothing that would happen in an organization that payroll would not be involved, because they want to know what is the liabilities involved. Are we adopting the compliance regarding this particular thing that we're trying to do? So I want to always make sure that we are saying the right things to them. So yes, I try to research every time. It can be a lot, but I do it anyways. And I love doing it. I enjoy doing it.
Okay, so know your stuff, research. And then what I also hear you say is there are so many information and resources out there.
Yes, absolutely.
To get the right answers before you make those, costly and timely decisions.
Absolutely. Because they might be dollar expensive.
I hear you on that. Hey, sounds good. Thank you so much for that. Just diving in a bit more into your story before we take a fun break. So many people know, payroll as the numbers thing. You told us about your love for numbers, and then you've also shared the compliance bit. But your work, I can imagine, has bigger impact. What would you say has been the most rewarding part of this career for you so far?
An immigrant coming into Canada, sometimes you might have to take some steps back just to launch yourself forward. But being able to be comfortable doing that and always telling yourself that I might have to take some steps back, but I will not stay there, is very important. A lot of people say, I'm this back home and I have to be this immediately I get in Canada or else I'm not succeeding. No. Especially in payroll, before you can say, okay, I'm an immigrant and I want a payroll manager role from the get-go, sometimes it can be very hard because they know, like employers know, the leaders know that there is a unique process in processing Canadian payroll. It's totally different. The laws are different. Everything is different. So I would say for me, I had to decide to say, okay, I don't mind starting from the start, starting from the beginning, but I won't stay there. I would always put my best foot forward. I will always show leaders that I am able and capable to handle all of their payrolls. I work for a very large organization with over 11,000 active employees per time. So you can imagine how complex, and we cut across various jurisdictions in Canada. We have presences in almost all of the different provinces in Canada and in the US, all of the states. But, I've always shown that I can do it, and I've always made strategic decisions, keep them informed regarding various changes that could affect the organization. And I work for an employer that sees it and would reward you accordingly. So that has really propelled me forward in terms of my career growth, where I currently work. And it's been rewarding for me. I look back and I'm like, yeah, in how many years? I'm currently at this point. So that has been greatly rewarding for me.
So just being able to look back at your journey. And I like how you said that. Don't be afraid to take a step back to launch yourself forward.
Yes.
But once you also get there, the fact that, you did all of that, but you started to see growth afterwards, I can imagine that must be truly rewarding. Have you had a really big hurdle, one of the toughest situations that you've encountered in your career? And how did you turn that into like a learning opportunity?
So I went on mat leave at one point from my little baby. Getting back from mat leave, I got back in the middle of a year end. It was year end process. It was December. Year end for a payroll administrator or a payroll professional is always crazy. It's the mix of generating T4s and W2. And, T4s in Canada is due February, but for W2s, they are due in January of the next year. So I got back November. The then payroll manager resigned at that time in the middle of year end. It was a period. Nobody resigns at year end. It's crazy. No. So I was asked at that point, Ola, are you assuring us that we would get the year end done? On a normal day, people would say, no, I just come back from mat leave. Like, no, go hire someone else or go just do anything, but not me. But I took that as an opportunity to show what I could achieve, what I could do. And I said, yes, I can let you know that the W-2s will be out, T4s will be out, everything will be done. There is no need to panic. We've got it under control. Don't do all that time. I was like, are you really? Do you have it under control? But I had to because it was a great opportunity. And I wasn't going to let it slide. I'm going to do it just to show the leadership that I could do it at that time. Did I have to sacrifice some time? Yes. Spending time with family? Yes, because I had to work late nights. I had to do some research. I had to check all of the folders to see what was done in the past so that we could replicate that this year. But did we get the W-2s done? Yes. Did we get the T4s done? Yes. Did that help me in a positive light? Yes. So that was the beginning of that change for me. Everybody was like, she just got back from mat leave. How was she able to do it? People were doubting that it would happen for that year, and we're able to do it. It wasn't only me, my team supported, of course. But at that point when the then payroll manager left, it was like it wasn't going to happen. There was so much scare and panic. People were not sure. But I was like, okay, we can do it. And we did it. And that was the turning point for me. And I'm always proud of that moment when I said yes, because I was just called into a meeting and they asked me and I'm like, yes. So when I look back and I'm like, thank God I said yes, that was the life-changing decision for me in this career.
So what should have ideally be a challenge became such an opportunity to propel your career forward.
Absolutely.
And, if I could summarize that in one sentence is be open for a challenge, like literally be open for a challenge.
Yes.
Well,
as literal as it can get, be open. Of course, when I say be open for a challenge, be ready to put the effort, because I wouldn't say, okay, take the challenge, but of course you're not going to put in the effort. You're not going to do it anyways, right? And then you are setting up your organization to fail. But in that case, I was like, yeah, that's what I love to do. Let's do it. I'm open to a challenge, and I took the challenge and I ran with it.
Oh, thank you so much for that. I love it. So I have a little twist. We have a fun break.
Okay.
And so for this fun break, I call them hot takes. We have a few hot takes. I'll just give you one hot take, and then you get to tell us whether you agree, you disagree, or you have a totally different take from what that is. So these are pretty much things in the corporate world, up and around the world of work today. The first one, unlimited vacation policies are a trap. They often just lead to employees taking less time off due to unclear boundaries. What's your take? Do you agree with this? Do you disagree? Or do you have a totally different take?
I would say I agree. Like, let me know. If it's 3 weeks, it's 3 weeks. Let me know. Don't tell me you have unlimited time off and I'm like, okay, maybe I should take it this week or maybe next week. I think it's a trap. I would rather have standard number of weeks or hours to take in a year, and then I can plan my life around that.
For me, my take is similar. Let the boundaries be clear. If I've got 2 weeks, if I've got 3 or 4, let me know what it is and I can plan around it. Usually what I have read in, some resources would be that statistics show that companies with unlimited vacation actually have people on the lower end of the divide, taking less and less time. That's what I've read. I mean, I haven't verified that. I don't know how to, but I similarly have a, similar take on that for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So one other one, remote work is overrated. Collaboration suffers without face-to-face interaction. What's your take?
Well, I'm all for remote roles or remote work, even though I try as much as possible to still have that one-on-one interaction with people, colleagues. Sometimes I can just decide to take the team out for like a lunch. We'll just pick a central place, go out for lunch 1 hour, and everybody's back to their desk at home. But because I have a very young family, I would always be biased towards remote roles. Just because they go to school, they come back and I'm home. I don't have to think about putting them in the daycare or something. So I would always be biased to that. But when it comes to fostering interaction within the team, sometimes, yes, you can be quite disconnected. And sometimes you're like, okay, am I even sure that this person that is remote is connecting with the team? So it's always very hard to keep people alive and motivated because of the remote screen, and so it's both ways. When it comes to my own personal bias, I would say yes, remote role all the way. But when it comes to like collaboration, fostering interaction within the team, I would say yes, it's overrated.
What I hear you say is remote work, yes, but throwing that balance of, face-to-face interaction
Yes.
when and where you can. Okay. Sounds good. I love it. I think I love remote work, for sure, but I also cannot take away that benefit of
Absolutely.
face-to-face interaction.
Yes.
I feel like the balance is really good.
Yeah.
Being able to connect, you can't quantify how much impact and how much benefit comes with it. So all I hear you say is, give it a balance.
Give it a balance for sure. But don't take remote work.
Sounds good. I love that. Okay, sounds good. One more hot take before we get back into serious stuff.
Okay.
Soft skills are overrated in the workplace. It's technical knowledge that matters more. What's your take on this?
It depends on your level. It depends on where you are at that time. If what you do is just basically your role, like your job and all of that, and you're like on the junior level side, I would say, of course, technical skill is very important because you do the work every time. But as you grow into leadership, soft skill is very, very important. Being able to lead. You don't need to, being able to lead, delegate, assign, mentor, coach. You don't need to know all of the technical stuff. And yes, and I work for an organization that like when you start to grow, they begin to look at your soft skills more than your technical know-how. That way, they can take you to add something that you have no idea about, but they want to know that you can mentor and coach those people under you to be the best. So I think it depends on where you're at in your career journey. If you are you're still trying to know the stuff, you're still junior, yes, the technical know-how is very important. But as you grow more into leadership, of course, the soft skill is very important.
I hear you on that for sure. And yeah, as you grow into leadership, a lot of the softer skills have to be projected for you to be able to. And I love the twist you put to it, especially when you have a lot of soft skills. You don't necessarily have to stay within a certain career line. You can, asked to move around. So yeah, I love that twist for sure. Thank you so much. I love it. I could continue with the hot takes, but let's get back into some of the really serious stuff. Getting back into payroll and also a bit of leadership. You currently lead a team of payroll professionals. How do you balance the technical aspects of payroll with the people side, especially now that you have a more leadership role? How do you balance the needs? So one of the things you've shared with the hot takes is the technical side is less projected as you go on, but I don't believe that you scrap it all away. So how do you provide the balance?
I have people that report to me, and even though they have the technical know-how, I also do have the technical know-how, which helps me to be able to support them. So they would have questions, an employee is asking me this, an employee is asking me that. I can sit with them, show them, just so next time they're not coming to me with the questions. However, we all know that managing people is usually it's usually the hardest part of it. So being able to switch between being a manager and a leader is very important. You can't say, because I'm leading people, I just want to be a manager all through. At a point, you will start to micromanage, and it's difficult on the people that you're managing. So being able to switch, because like I tell them, even in my one-on-ones with them, sometimes I'll tell them, if you don't have anything work related, let's just chat, about basically anything and everything. Maybe you have questions about me, about my growth, about how I'm able to better support you. Or you have questions about how the company as a whole can support you. It doesn't have to be work. It doesn't have to be work related. Of course, at the end of the day, it's still work related. But then you just want to foster that relationship where they can trust you. That way, whether it's technical part that you're showing them or not the soft skill part, they can just emulate and take all of the things that you are showing or telling them. They can take it in. Because as a leader, I find it very important that you build that relationship first with whether you're your subordinate or your colleagues. It's very important. That way, they can trust that whatever you're telling them or showing them is the absolute truth. For me, I would say that it's been a mix of both. It's been a journey for me, and I'm growing every time, because I feel that leadership is not a one-size-fits-all kind of situation. You have to know what works for you.
So what I hear you say is that balance, even with how your team shows up to you as a leader, and then how you show up as well to your team as their leader, constantly knowing when to step out of being too focused on the technical side and switching into let's make it a little softer. Let's focus on you as an individual and constantly just finding that balance.
Yeah.
And I hear you about, the need to constantly evolve as a leader as well. I work with leaders every now and again, and I can tell you that leaders at different phases always evolve. Yeah. Thank you for that. I'm curious. I mean, you've done payroll for a bit. How do you see the role evolving in the future? What do you think the industry is probably headed into in the next 5 to 10 years based off some of the things you know today?
Okay, so like I said, we are at the heart of every business. Since the emanation of AI, not been able to see AI take away the role of a payroll professional. I've not even seen anyone do it or something that could mimic, AI taking away the payroll piece of the business. So I would say that we're going to be around for a very long time, even though I want more visibility for payroll in terms of liking us to maybe business analysis and project management. I think more visibility needs to go out for payroll professional because we are very important for every business. We make the employee come back every time because we pay them. If you want to know how important we are, don't pay your employees just one time. You would just miss one payment, and then you know why it's important to have payroll professionals in your team. So I would say in the foreseeable future, we are still going to be here. It's not a profession that AI would take over because it has to do with numbers. It requires human interaction. A lot of people cannot even fill their timesheets accurately. There is no, even if you have like a employee self-service available to them, they would still make an error. So it would usually require human interaction and manual intervention at times. I think we will still be here for a long time.
I hear you for sure. And I mean, with those ever-changing compliance pieces as well, yes, like you do need humans to be able to infuse and respond to those changes.
Absolutely.
I hear you on that. Thank you so much, Ola. I love all of this perspective. I mean, like you so rightly said, payroll is ever-changing in terms of the dynamics. How do you continue to level up and stay ahead of new trends? I think you've shared one piece, which is constantly monitoring regulation. But are there other things that a payroll professional out there needs to do to stay ahead of the trends?
I would say networking. It is very important. I attended one conference last year in the US, and it totally changed my perspective regarding even the payroll software that we use right now in the organization that I work with. And so networking is important. Just hearing other people talk about what they have going in their company and how you can maximize every tool and resources that you have at your disposal, and just building that community for yourself. In the conference, I networked with a lot of people that we are now like buddies on LinkedIn. We are almost like forming a group there where you can throw in questions, ask questions. You guys are free to interact, and that community is huge because when you're going through a particular scenario at your workplace and you think, oh, you're the only one having that issue. No, someone had it like 3 years ago and they have a way of resolving it that will make your life better. So networking is very important, and then build your community. If you check my LinkedIn, I have a lot of payroll professionals that I'm following, that are following me. That's like majority, like 75 or 85% of my LinkedIn Connect are payroll professionals. Building that community is very important for you, and being able to be out there. Things are ever changing in this space. Be out there, ask questions, the right questions, and that's how you keep it going. And then, of course, every year I take all of the short courses that are focused on like leadership, compliance, risk management, decision making. I just try to take all of those courses that are geared into making you a better payroll manager, just so I'm staying abreast with all of those changes that are happening.
So network, build yourself a community, attend sessions, conferences, webinars as much as you can.
Yes.
You constantly have to be out there is what I hear you say.
Absolutely. So it's very important for you to be out there.
Yeah, love it. Thank you so much. So a lot of people want to build lifelong professions or career. What's the key to staying passionate and motivated through the ups and the downs, in your own opinion? And like you rightly shared today, you've had the good moments. You've also had the not so good moments. What do you think is key when it comes to staying passionate and just remaining motivated throughout the entire period of one's career?
I would say that, people go into various career paths for different reasons. Some people are just driven by the money? Is it paying so well? Let me go jump into it. Or just following the wagon, whatever people are saying out there. But you need to be able to look inward and see what works for you. What am I going to love today, 5 years time, 10 years time? You need to have passion for what you do. It's the passion that you have for what you do that would keep you motivated every point in time, and being able to also contribute to the growth of a business. I love it. When I'm appreciated and valued, boost my confidence level. I want to do more. I want to be out there. So like I said, yes, have that confidence, have that passion for what you do, enjoy doing it. If not that I try to actively put in work-life balance. Honestly, Ola, I can be on my computer for 12 to 24 hours without blinking an eye. Yeah, because I love what I do. I love it. But of course, work-life balance has to come in. So I would say the passion, and also keeping yourself motivated and challenged every time. I don't like something that becomes too monotonous for me, that I do it almost every time. Nothing changes every time. I get bored. I'm that kind of person. I have that personality. And this comes in for me. I'm always I can put in critical thinking think about things, solve problems, make decisions. And it just all boils down to enjoy what you do. So just think about it yourself. Like, am I in it for the money? What happens if the money is no longer there, or it's not enough to solve my needs? But if you feel like, yes, I love this because I have passion for it, I'm going into this because I have passion for it, that will sustain you for the long haul. There are moments, and I'm telling you because I'm also human, there are moments that I'm like, maybe I shouldn't even be in payroll. I love numbers and I have the passion, but there are days when it's crazy and you're like, oh my God, what have I done to myself?
How did I find myself here?
Like those days, you're like, I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to do something else. But then 1 year down the line, you're still there. That's because I love what I do. I can't see myself doing any other thing else aside payroll.
So you have to enjoy what you do. Like, what can I do now that I would love doing in 5 to 10 years and still feel fulfilled?
Yes.
Is what I hear you say. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
Yep.
For sharing. So I'm curious. I mean, the world of work has constantly been changing, but I feel like in the last maybe about a year or even more into 2025 has changed really differently. What, in your opinion, should someone who is new and setting out to start a career, not necessarily in payroll, but like starting a professional career, what, in your opinion, are the things that they should be focusing on in this age and time?
I would say soft skills. Okay. And I've heard people say, oh, soft skills, it's not communication and being able to adapt. It depends on the climate that you find yourself in, this environment that we're in. Soft skill is huge. It's not about just being able to do the job. It's about you being able to do well in your team, being able to delegate, work well within the team, have conversations, manage conflict. So focus on your soft skills because it would happen at work, right? All of those things will happen at work. Focus on your soft skills. Put your best foot forward every time. There is nothing that you want to become that you're not able to. You just have to put your mind to it. I have had a lot of people say, oh, it's so difficult. But I tell them, that's because you're saying it. You're saying it and you're beginning to believe it. It's living in your head and everything seems so difficult. Have I had challenges? Yes. Have I struggled? Yes. But I'm not going to stay there. I'm not going to stay there or dwell on it. I'm just going to find a better way to do things. So if you've been trying to apply for a role and it seems like it's so tough, it seems like you're not going to get it, do you need someone else to review your resume for you? Do you need someone to sit with you and hear you speak for the first 5 minutes of that interview call? Because I've sat with a lot of people, people who want to transition into the world of payroll, and they tell me, oh, I'm not able to get a job in payroll. And I'm like, okay, let's sit together. And the first 5 minutes of that conversation, I'm like, I know why. And then we start to have a rethink, a shift. And then I start to mentor and coach them and things become better. So maybe that's just what you need. Someone checking your resume, or maybe networking, mixing with the right crowd, because it's very important. Build that community where you're able to say, I'm open to work. I'm looking for a job. This is what I've done in the past. I want someone to run with me and help me achieve this. Meetup is another great place where you can, It's a hub, meet up, where people come together, talk about various things, various topics and all of that. You can join that. Go for tea, party, and just network and build that connection. You have to step out of your comfort zone. I was just having a conversation this afternoon with someone and I said, I think I need to start stepping out of a particular zone that I'm in because I want to know people outside of that area. So if you are trying to build your career, you have to be intentional about it. You have to do things differently. People that succeed, they don't just do the same thing over and over again. They have to always face challenges and be ready to do something different.
Yeah, I hear you on that. People who have been successful haven't done that doing the same thing or going with the same approach all their life.
Yes.
You have to constantly be open to switching things up. Pretty much is all I hear you say. Thank you so much for that. So curious, Ola, if you could take back the hands of time and you wanted to give one advice to a younger version of you just at the start of your career, what would you be saying to her today?
So there has been moments where I'm like, maybe things are not going to happen for me. There has been moments where, I couldn't see the future and I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm just going to be here forever. I'm just going to be who I am right now. I'm looking back to like 20 years ago. I wasn't even sure I was going to be here where I am. I would always say, don't give up. You can do something better than you did it yesterday. And I think as I grew older, that has really helped me. I can do anything that I set my heart. Whether I have to do extra late nights here and there to get it done, yes, it's possible. Whether I have to reach out to people that I'm not comfortable talking to on a normal day, I would say fear can be a huge barrier, especially, if I'm talking to my younger self, because I've been in situations where I've been scared to take the leap. I've been scared to just do something different. So I would say, not be afraid. Just take that leap of faith. Try it out. If something doesn't work for you, doesn't mean you failed. It just means that you can try something different and get a better result. Sometimes people hold on to failure and it just keeps them in that one spot. But I would say, no, step out, try something new. And something good will come your way.
Hold yourself back. Take that leap of faith.
Yes.
It's all I hear you say. I love it. Thank you so much. One more. If you had one career advice to leave behind for our listeners today, especially if somebody needed a bit more motivation in their career, they want to take the next step, what would you be saying to them?
I would say you can do it, but you have to know what you want to do. I've seen people at a crossroads, they're not sure. I would say that regardless of which career path you're willing to try out, don't limit yourself, but you can't be trying everything and expect to get a different result. Just determine, this is what I'm going to do. How can I achieve this result? Do I have to speak with people? Do I have to get a mentor? Do I have to get a coach? And one other very important thing, and I should have even talked about it, not this, get a sponsor. Some people will say, oh, yeah, I have a mentor. No, a sponsor is more important than a mentor. People that can speak for you when you're not even there.
You're not in the room.
It is very, very important. And that has really helped me in my career. When decisions are being made and you're not even aware. So you have to build a relationship where you have a sponsor who would advocate for you tooth and nail, but then you have to have paid the dues in terms of putting the work. Let this person be sure that, if I close my eyes, this person can do it. Yes.
Yeah, I hear you on that. It's so important. Yes, we talk about getting mentors, whether in and out of work, but it's also important that in your sphere and within the environment where you work, that you find someone who can come up as a sponsor for you. But like you said, you must have put in the work.
Yeah.
I hear you for sure. Thank you so much for this. It's been such an engaging conversation. I mean, I'm not a payroll person, but like you rightly said, you're making me literally like rethink things. So it's such a lovely conversation. And I'm just curious, if our listeners were hoping to connect with you, where can they find you?
On LinkedIn. As Ola Adebayo, one and only. So yes, I'm on LinkedIn, Ola Adebayo. You can connect with me via LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So if you reach out to me trying to connect, I'm here.
Okay. So if someone was looking to get into payroll or just network and ask the right questions, Ola is willing and available to be that person. I'll make sure to link her profile on this episode. That's for sure.
That's fine.
I just wanted to say thank you for your time. It's been such a great conversation, and thank you for sharing your journey so openly. One of the interesting things that I find with these episodes is I am equally learning. Like, I'm doing the asking of questions, but I'm soaking in a whole lot, because again, it's always been my philosophy or my belief that when you can't wait to experience, to have all of the experiences. And I believe somebody on one of these episodes said the same thing. You can't wait to have all of the experiences, but you can do yourself good by learning from the experiences of other people.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's been one of such episodes for me. So thank you so much.
You're welcome
for sharing. It's been such a great pleasure having you. And thank you everyone. This is where we call it a wrap for today. Ola Adebayo has been our guest. She's shared so much. And if you've stuck around till now, you would tell that you have such great insights to take away from this episode. Until the next episode where I bring you yet another great and incredible professional, I'm signing out. See you on the next one.